Level 1. The Recruit. It is 3 in the morning, and you are standing on 2 yellow footprints painted on the pavement of the recruit depot. You are 18 years old, you are 141 pounds, and you have nothing except $100 someone saw fit to give you, a duffel bag, and the bus ticket it came with. Some guy is screaming in your face, and you have already forgotten your middle name. This is the ground every Marine who has ever existed stood on first, this blacktop, these footprints. You will be one of the roughly 30,000 kids standing here this year, and each and every one of you already believes they are the exception. You are not yet. You are a number on a roster, and a blood type on a strip of metal they stamped while you watched. They hang it from your neck like a price tag on merchandise that still needs to be sold. It will take 13 weeks to turn that tag into a word you have spent your entire life saying to yourself in vain. The kid standing on the footprints next to you is from Bakersfield. He is 17 and lied about his weight, and he can't stop shaking, and you will remember him better than most of the people you go to high school with. They take away your hair, your clothes, your phone, your name. Everything you are is recruit, and they give you back almost nothing. What they do give you is the day to wake up, to run, to fail, to run some more until the calendar stops meaning anything, and all you can think about is the next 4 seconds. The crucible waits at the end of it all. 54 hours of sleep and survival training, split up with 8 hours total of sleep, 2.5 MREs, 40 miles of walking, more than 30 obstacles designed to find the deepest part of you and rip it out. You will hallucinate a little. You will carry a man heavier than yourself up a hill etched with the name of a dead Marine, and at the top someone will press a small metal eagle, globe, and anchor into your filthy hands, and you will cry, and you will never be able to explain it to anyone who wasn't there either. That is the trick of it. The Corps doesn't make you into something you weren't. It finds the things you already are and pours itself into them until you are neither. You look down the length of the footprints, the hundreds of pairs of footprints painted and repainted into this blacktop for decades upon decades, and you can't imagine leaving. Can't imagine anything except the next 4 seconds. The Corps doesn't break you. It finds the places where you were already broken. Level 2. The Marine. You have the title now. You earned it in the mud and nobody living can take it away. For about a week, it feels like the whole damn reason you were born. Then you get to the fleet. The fleet doesn't have a nice picture of a sun setting behind a formation of Marines like the recruiter center did with its laminated poster board. The fleet has a small barracks that smells like furniture polish and energy drinks, a rack, that's a bed, attached to another rack, a working party at 5 o'clock in the morning to move boxes that could have stayed put. You are a private, E1. Your base pay, plus the 2025 raise that finally made the news, is about $2,100 a month. That is a lot to an 18-year-old, until you realize the Marine next to you has a wife, a kid, and a food stamp card. You are the lowest thing in the Corps that has a name. You learn to say I. You learn to stand in formation in a specific way at a specific place and disappear. You learn that "we'll get chow after this" means "we'll get permission to eat after this," about half the time. You learn that the men who terrified you for 13 weeks were getting paid to do it, and the fleet does not give you anything to pay for it. You learn that rank does not mean much of anything to the men and women who will decide if you live or die, and you learn to volunteer for everything. The burn detail first, then the desk, the midnight offload, anything that puts something useful in your hands. Home texts stop coming. Your friends are sophomores in college sending pictures from parties you can no longer imagine. Your girlfriend's texts grow shorter, then spaced out, then kind. Bakersfield stays with you, same unit, dumb luck of the assignment lottery, and he is the only one who laughs at the same stupid things you do. He irons your camis when they look like a crime scene, and you start calling him brother, and you mean it with everything inside you. You do not mean blood, not anymore, but you mean the other thing. The very particular thing that word is becoming. Someone who could carry your body if you died, because you will carry theirs if it comes to that. The title was supposed to be a finish line. It turns out to be a door. You can't see what is on the other side because nobody standing on those footprints can see anything at all. That is why some wall locker and hold that eagle, globe, and anchor, proof of the one clean thing you ever finished. The title is the last thing they will give you for free. Level 3. The Lance Corporal. In the Marine Corps, that means everything and nothing at all. There are more of you than any other rank, and you are the face of the Corps, the guys who do the work and lead no one. There is even a nickname for you, half joke and half true, in the dark places where people who serve will tell you so if they think you can understand. The Lance Corporal Underground is an unofficial nation of men and women who work the system, while the people in charge pretend not to notice. You have been deployed for the first time, for 7 months, and you have learned that the waiting is the worst part, because it gives you time to think. The waiting also teaches you the one thing the recruiting commercial never could, that you belong to something bigger than yourself now, not like you did to a school or a group of people or your family. 100 men who would come for you in the dark, no questions asked, and you for them. It is the closest thing to unconditional love you have ever known, and it is happening in the worst place imaginable. A care package from your mother arrives late, flattened by the mail truck, the cookies turn to sand, a note, a picture. You eat the sand, because you miss the house you can barely picture anymore, and that is what home has turned into. Not a place you live, but a place that saves your seat at a table, one deployment at a time, for someone else. Then a truck 3 vehicles ahead goes up, and a Marine you played spades with 2 nights ago goes to his flag, and you are 20 years old, and you fold your grief down small enough to fit in a cargo pocket and move on. That is the scary part, the thing that will change you forever. You do that, and you go eat lunch and come back changed in ways you cannot name and never unname. Fireworks, trash bags on the highway, the click of a particular kind of door. Your parents say you seem quieter. You are not quiet. You are loud on a frequency they cannot hear. They could get out now. 4 years, honorable discharge, be a real 22-year-old. Normal has become a country you no longer have a passport to. That is why you re-enlist for the first time, when nobody asks you to, and claim it was all for the bonus, because home keeps your seat warm for exactly 1 deployment. Level 4. The Corporal. Something in your life shifts that you did not sign up to shift. You are a fire team leader now, a corporal in the United States Marine Corps, and for the first time in your life, when you speak, men do what you say. It is a drug, and you will spend the rest of your career chasing the clean version of it. You are the one who teaches them to shoot, to move, to strip a rifle blindfolded, to carry more than you know. When one of them gets it right, when they do what you asked, it lands in your chest like something a civilian paycheck never bought you. Then the invoice arrives. A day you have to obey orders is the day their mistakes become your own, because you are the one who signed for them. Your youngest is 19 and does the dumbest things 19-year-olds do, and it is 3 in the morning and your phone rings, and you are driving through a part of town you wish you weren't, and you talk a cop down off a chase and you buy him coffee, and when he stands tall by first formation, you never mention it, because a fire team leader handles everything. You stop being the guy that things happen to and start being the guy that answers for them. You learn their families' names. You learn who has issues, who struggles, who has a baby coming, who is 1 bad week away from doing something stupid, something they can never take back. You carry around a mental roster of things in addition to weapons. The chevrons on your sleeves were sold to you as a reward, but they feel like something else, like weight. The Corps has shifted something on your shoulders and shook your hand so fast you didn't realize it until later. Later is now, and you are 23 and have 3 lives riding on what you do, and you would die for any of them without thinking about it for a second. Nobody warned you that you would love people that fast, that much, that suddenly. Nobody warned you that loving was the job. The chevrons do not make you a leader. They make you responsible. Level 5. The Sergeant. Sergeant, squad leader, 13 Marines, 12 of them yours, and the tool you use to lead them is a radio handset the size of a Snickers bar. You key it, and men walk up and into danger because your voice told them to, and that is the job, boiled down and spit out. It is not the shooting, It is not the fighting. It is not the explosions or the close quarters or the blood on the rocks. It is the pointing, the sending, the knowing what comes next when no one knows what comes next. Anyone can pull a trigger. It takes a stripe to point another man at the thing that might kill him and believe with everything in you that you were right. Some nights the trust feels like the heaviest thing you own. You are a sergeant for the second time, and you send your team down a road you have a bad feeling about, because that is the job too. The road didn't clear itself, the mission didn't change because you had doubts, and the kid from Bakersfield, not a kid really, a corporal now, your best friend of 7 years, the man who ironed your camis, the one you first called brother when the word was new, when it was still strange. The kid from Bakersfield walks that road because your voice told him to, and he trusted you, and you trusted yourself, and it was enough for both of you. He doesn't come back. You will sign for the line, inventory his stuff, find the laminated picture in his cargo pocket, his mother, always soft around the edges from being held, and you will have to log it as personal effects and put it in a bag with a number on it. That is the thing they train you to do. That is the thing you do. You get the rest of them back. Brief the platoon in your normal voice. Call his mother's number in your head and put it off again because you have to. Then you find a shipping container that serves as a room, and you sit on an empty ammo can and make the sound in your throat you have never made before and will make again and again. Low, animal, your fist over your mouth so no one outside hears their sergeant fall apart. Here is the whole weight of the word, the promise that has been sliding down your throat for years, until it rests finally in your lungs. A brother is someone you will one day be ordered to spend your life with. And you will. That is the job too, and it will feel like the right thing to do when it happens. It will always feel like the right thing to do, even when it is the hardest thing, even when it is a murder and you were thanked for it. They will pin a medal on you, maybe, and promote you too, certainly. They will let you write his mother a letter in your own hand, because a form would have been obscene. You will keep a copy of that letter in a drawer for the rest of your life, in a place you don't visit often. You can give an order or keep a friend. You can do both, until you can do neither. Level 6, the Staff Sergeant. You cross a threshold here, a place most Marines will never see and none will return from. You become a Staff Non-Commissioned Officer, an SNCO. Career, a lifer, one of the fortunate 1%. There is a mess hall now for men like you, a Staff NCO club, a round table you have earned your place at, and the first time an old Gunny nods at you in passing, it goes all the way down your back and into your bones. You are inside the thing now, one of the keepers, not just one of the kept. You become a platoon sergeant, and 42 Marines report to you. You sign your second re-enlistment papers on the hood of a Humvee in a country your children can't pronounce, in a state you won't talk about. But the money is real, and the pension is waiting, and none of those things are why you signed, and all of them are reasons you tell people anyway. Somewhere in here you get married, because you are supposed to, and for a while you build a home, and then you deploy, and when you get back, the house has built itself into something you don't recognize. Then you deploy again, and your spouse stops asking when you'll be home because you are already half gone anyway. You flinch at the sound of the garbage truck. You sleep with your back to the door. You sit quietly for hours at a time, unable to say where you've been. The fighting stops, which feels like a kind of peace, and in a way it is, and also not. There is a you that got out at 4, that is right now coaching a little league game in some generic subdivision, and you think about him sometimes, about whether he's happy, and you suspect he is. You re-enlist anyway, and you learn that the Corps will hold your hand for 30 years and not let you go, and it can't come to your birthday, and it can't fix your marriage, and it will always find work for you. The wedding band goes from finger to nightstand, and one morning it just stays there, and neither of you talks about it, and you tell yourself that is fine, because you've started telling yourself a lot of things are fine. It is a word you say to yourself more and mean less, and you re-enlist for the Marines, and you lose everybody who isn't one. Level 7, the Gunny. To the young Marines, you are now an institution, a fixture. The Gunny, the one who can fix everything, and kill everything too. About 180 younger Marines in the company can feel your presence prick their necks, and you've forgotten more about the Corps than most will ever know. You are less man and more load-bearing wall, institutionally reinforced, and the furniture in your person has been installed by the system. There is power in that, and you are not wrong to feel pride, and a word from you can mend what a colonel's memorandum has frayed, and a glance from you can tighten a squad's looser joints, and you can walk into a motor pool, and the very air will cool around your temples, and no one has ever seen you sweat, and you are nearly untouchable, and that is a place to be, if you can stand the loneliness it brings, and you have learned to. There is a folding chair outside your office, and Marines sit there, and even you can recognize the shape of it when a 20-year-old Lance Corporal sits down and says, "I'm fine." And you have said that word, in that chair's shape, so many times that you know the lie for what it is. And so you sit, and you let him talk, because you have buried enough of these boys to recognize the sound of a bad week. And the whole sad machinery of rank has been invented for this precise reason, to sort out who is lying when they say the word. You catch most. One you don't. You file him in the same cargo pocket where you keep all the rest. Meanwhile, your civilian life has ended without a funeral, and you go to a cookout back home and someone your own age asks you what you do for work, and you say, "Marines." And there is no reply he can make to that, because he speaks a different language now, the one that has acronyms and black humor and instincts ingrained that translate to no one. You are the most competent you have ever been, and the most alone you have ever been, and it is the same thing. And you have become fluent in a country of one, and everyone you meet says they are fine. Level 8, the first sergeant, the top. The senior enlisted man in the company, and now roughly 200 lives and 200 rifles are in your hands, though you would say, under your care, if you were the sort of man to say such things. Their divorces, their finances, their custody hearings. The one whose father died mid-deployment and needs to be informed in a plywood coffin in a corner office by you, because you have been trained to knock on doors at hours that can only mean one thing, and to watch the faces that open to your name. You have learned to keep your dress blues clean and ready at all times, because those doors do not grant advance notice. You know the silent language the manual teaches, and the words not to say when they are needed most. And you stand in more memorials than you can recall, because you have stopped counting in good faith, because a number that large has ceased to signify, and you want the weight of every one to be felt. You are familiar now with a shape you wish you were not, a rifle standing upright on its muzzle, the stock balanced on boots, the helmet perched on the barrel, dog tags hanging from the grip, a folded flag at the end, a whole life reduced to 4 objects and a name said aloud, by someone who has been laminated to repeat it, while a bugler plays the rest. You have said the name to the whole company, and your voice does not shake because the entire Marine Corps has looked to you and expects you to hold on, and you have learned to grieve privately and on schedule, like everyone else. There is no chair for you. The top does not fall apart before the company, and the top holds the line so the company can. And when you wanted, once, to matter when you were 18 and thought the words were yours to choose, be careful what you wish for. Because as a first sergeant, you matter to 200 people who will never know your name and who would dissolve entirely if you failed them for 1 week in their lives. The burden you felt as 2 chevrons when you were 23 is a cathedral now, and you are inside it, and you do not get to take it down, because there is no one below you to give it to, and you carry them for the rest of your life. Level 9, the Sergeant Major. One of the very few to rise to the top of the enlisted food chain, a battalion sergeant major, and there are nearly 1,000 Marines under your general guidance, and you represent the single most important enlisted voice to the colonel, and he knows it. The men whom you promoted now lead companies, lead platoons, lead squads, and some of them are still alive, the lucky ones, and that is a greater monument than any stone, because every single one of them is still alive, and they owe their lives to you, the lucky ones. You have given the Corps 25 years, and you have a wall at home now in the bedroom where your children used to sleep before they grew up and moved away, and you are older, and you visit. On the wall are photographs, and you bury the corporal who died in the road, and you bury the private who didn't make it back from a training accident that didn't see fit to make the news, and you bury the sergeant you found in the folding chair, the one you were sure you'd saved, who had made it all the way back home and only failed to live through Tuesday. You bury them and you keep their pictures because you have done the math, and you may be the last living person to see all of them laid to rest. And if you let them go, no one will know any of their names, and something inside every one of them will die a second death. So long live the Marines, and so long live the Republic that lets us do these things. Your own children are nearly adults, and they visit often. They love you the way you love a ship coming into harbor, and are glad to see it, and also always ready when it leaves again. There are grandchildren now who know you as a framed picture on the wall and a stiff hug at the holidays, and you can make a fire team of complete strangers in 90 seconds flat, but you could not put together a family portrait for the life of you. You made every rank and missed every birthday, and you would do it again, and you wouldn't, and admitting that anything is a betrayal to the country that made you, and people respect you now the way they respect a monument, and they stand a little taller when you pass and don't meet your eyes. It is the loneliest kind of affection, that sort that only salutes. You memorize the dead so they aren't lost to the world. Level 10. The Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, the single most senior enlisted Marine, and the voice of every one of the 170,000 men and women in uniform who serve under his guidance, and you answer directly to the Commandant himself. You made it, all the way up. You climbed the rungs and etched footprints all the way to the top, 30 years of it, and here you stand at the summit the recruiters never even put on the posters because it was too far to climb. And this is your life, representing Marines you'll never meet, and Marines you can't forget. The first ones, your dog tags, the ones they weighed while you stood at attention at 18, your name and O positive still on them, are worn down and smoothed, the identifying marks only readable by touch and memory. Same tags, same blood type, different man entirely. The one who wore them when he enlisted is just another casualty to you, and you delivered him yourself, one glorious re-enlistment at a time. They still want you to fold the flags, and you do. 13 folds in a neat blue triangle, and you kneel at the feet of widows and say the words, and you are good at it. And being good at it is the kind of hurt that never stops hurting. You drive out to the recruit depot for a memorial service, and on the way you pass a parking lot where a kid is standing on 2 yellow footprints painted on the pavement and looking at you. And he is 18 and weighs maybe 140 pounds, and is scared exactly the way you were, and has nothing in the world except 2 pairs of socks and a duffel bag, and no idea at all what happens next. He thinks the top of the mountain looks like stars and glory and a poster on the wall, and you know the top of the mountain is a series of photographs and a folded flag next to a name, Bakersfield, that you carry in your cargo pocket for 30 years next to a laminated photo of your mother you sent to her a decade too late. You could tell him all of this. You could. You don't. You wouldn't have heard him either, because the thing you climbed your whole life was never on the summit. It was the man who ironed your camis, and he's been dead since the 5th step. The rank was never the prize. It was the receipt for everything else, the price for everything it cost. And the kid takes his first steps on the footprints, and it all begins again.